Why you should never work for exposure. The message is the same every time: we love your work. We would love for you to contribute your art to our project, and of course, we'll give you tons of exposure in return. This could really help you grow your brand. These emails come in waves, like an onslaught of vague promises and empty offers that prey on the hopes of artists. They make it sound so alluring, so harmless, almost like a golden opportunity. But let me tell you something: exposure doesn't pay the rent. Exposure doesn't buy the art supplies you need. Exposure doesn't cover your gas bill or help you put food on the table. It's a dangerous trap, and as artists, we need to stop falling for it. I used to say yes. I used to convince myself that the exposure was worth it, that somehow this would help me land my big break. The idea that I could gain recognition or build a following with each piece of free work was a siren song that I was all too eager to believe. But after years of getting caught in that vicious cycle, I've learned a very important lesson: exposure does nothing but undervalue your creativity. So, let me get this out there once and for all: never work for exposure. The illusion of exposure. You've probably heard it a million times by now. This will be great for your portfolio. Think of all the followers you'll gain. This will lead to more paid opportunities. But here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud: exposure is not a valid currency. It's the same as offering to pay someone in exposure bucks and expecting them to pay their rent with it. It's not real. It's not tangible. And it doesn't count. When someone asks you to work for exposure, they are exploiting the very essence of what makes you an artist: your creativity, your time, your energy. Your art is worth more than likes or retweets. It's worth more than fleeting attention that lasts all of 2 seconds before the next trend or viral post takes its place. What happens when you work for exposure is that you diminish the value of what you do. You make it seem as though your time and talent are expendable. After all, if you're willing to do something for free, why should anyone believe it's worth paying for? The toll on your creative energy. As artists, we have to learn to respect our own time. I remember those early days of my career when I'd happily give away my art for free in exchange for a promise that it would help me get noticed. The emails, the DMs, the messages from friends and acquaintances all offering some variation of exposure, and I bought into it. Maybe this time it would work. Maybe this time, that one piece would be the one that changed everything. But after a while, I started to burn out. I'd finish one free project, only to be asked to do another, and then another, and before I knew it, I'd spent countless hours creating for nothing but empty promises. My inbox was full of requests for more art with no actual compensation. My creativity was being stretched thinner and thinner, until there was nothing left for me. How could I continue to work on my own projects, things that mattered to me, if I was constantly giving away my time for nothing? What I didn't realize at the time was that I was doing more than just depleting my energy. I was undervaluing my own work. As creatives, we pour so much of ourselves into every piece. Art takes effort, emotion, and skill. It's not just about mixing paint on a canvas or drawing a line on paper. It's about expressing something that comes from within. When you give that away for free, you're telling the world that your creativity is not worth anything. The vicious cycle of free work, we've all been there. A potential client, a friend, or a stranger messages you with a request for free art. They insist it'll be great exposure, that this one time will lead to bigger and better things. They promise that they'll credit you, tag you, and make sure you're noticed. But here's the kicker: they never follow through on those promises. The free work cycle keeps repeating itself. Once you've done one project for free, you're stuck. The next person you come into contact with will assume you'll do it again. They'll ask you for just one more favor or one small piece. And guess what? You'll do it because you feel like it's harmless. You don't want to lose out on the possibility of getting that big break. But by the time you realize what's happening, you've given away hours and hours of work, and your art has become synonymous with free. And this only reinforces the idea that your talent isn't worth paying for. The harsh reality is that when you agree to work for free, you're creating a precedent. You are setting the tone for how people view your work. If you constantly give things away, they won't value it. You're teaching others that art is something you can have without putting in the effort to support it. And the longer this cycle continues, the harder it is to break free. The financial cost of free work. When I was just starting out, I didn't think about the financial implications of working for free. I thought exposure would eventually lead to paying gigs. But the reality is that free work often comes at a high price. What I was losing wasn't just my time, it was the opportunity to pay for my own needs. Rent, food, supplies. All the things I needed to stay afloat. I was literally starving myself as an artist because I believed the lie that exposure would feed me. Let's be honest, free work is a choice, but it's also a financial gamble. The emotional toll it takes is enough to send anyone into a spiral, but the financial cost of not getting paid can be even worse. Every free project I worked on meant less time to focus on paid opportunities. The more I gave away, the harder it was to make a living doing what I loved. That's the insidious part of working for exposure. It traps you in a cycle of false hope that prevents you from securing real, paying work. The true value of art. Art is not a commodity, it's a reflection of the artist. It's a personal expression, a piece of who you are, and it deserves to be treated with respect. That respect doesn't come from the empty promises of exposure, it comes from actual compensation. It comes from recognizing that the value of what you create is more than just what people see on the surface. The truth is that your art is worth something. It's worth more than likes on Instagram or retweets on Twitter. It's worth more than comments like, "This is amazing," or, "I love it, you're so talented." Art is a skill, a craft, and an emotional investment. It requires years of practice, dedication, and passion. When you give your work away for free, you're saying that none of that matters. That your time and talent don't deserve compensation. But here's the good news, you don't have to work for exposure. You can set your boundaries, and you can ask for what you deserve. You are an artist, and you deserve to be paid for your creativity. People who value your work will respect that. And those who don't, well, they're not the clients you want to attract anyway. The turning point. I finally realized that the exposure game wasn't worth playing anymore when I had to make a choice: keep working for free and continue hoping for that elusive big break, or start charging for my work and treating myself like the professional artist I was becoming. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the best one I ever made. When I finally started valuing my art, others started valuing it too. My first paid commission came shortly after I stopped working for exposure. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but it was enough to show me that people would pay for what I create, if I treated my work like it had value. That was the turning point. From there, I learned how to set rates, how to communicate with clients, and how to protect my time and creativity. I stopped chasing after empty promises and started focusing on the work that paid me what I was worth. Conclusion: it's time to stop working for exposure. It's time to stop undervaluing our creativity and setting the precedent that our work is free. As artists, we are more than just creators, we are professionals who deserve to be compensated for our time, effort, and skill. If we want to build sustainable careers, we have to demand respect for our art. The truth is simple: exposure doesn't pay the bills. Real work does. Art is a journey, not a destination. Subscribe and be inspired by stories of persistence and success.